distant lands, just surf and play with tired hands. Lost in waves and hula tunes, Tiki trains set on some moves. Forgot the fight in distant lands, just surf and play with tired hands. Red tide rolls in a cold breeze, steel boots on the sand, no ease. Propellers hum the Soviet quest, but the island ain't weak, not less. She-hot tanks roaring loud and clear, zombie hula girls, no fear. Tiki terrors rise, eyes ablaze, Soviets drown in the island haze. Island don't surf, island don't win, Tiki terrors won't let them in. She-hot tanks make the ground shake, zombie hula girls' hearts won't break. Under moonlight chants they clash, steel meets flame, bones will thrash. Cold War's heat, the island's grip, Tiki rage will never slip. Drums beat, wild waves take hold, Soviet shiver, hearts turn cold. In the depths of night they fail, Tiki terror's ancient tale. Island don't surf, island don't win, Tiki terrors won't let them in. She-hot tanks make the ground shake, zombie hula girls' hearts won't break. Island don't surf, island don't win, Tiki terrors won't let them in. She-hot tanks make the ground shake, zombie hula girls' hearts won't break.
Howdy, it's your old pal, Tiki the Hut. Thanks for joining me again another Too Late Tonight with Tiki, and it is Too Late Tonight with Tiki. I am back from the awesome second fictional battle of Malta that saw the insidious and yet infamous Tiki Terrors operating with some Fallschirmjägers to try and capture a small maintenance Maltese airfield from some British and Polish defenders. It was a long, about 8.5, almost 9-hour game. We did a full 7 turns, 1,500 points, 2v2. It was an absolute slug out match. In the end, there was 3 key locations. It was meeting engagement, quarters, and key positions is what we did. Modified, of course. We did night fighting rules, dawn assault, and we also used the combat drop alternate rules as far as dropping dice. So it was quite the combination. And hey, what's going on, Commander? So we did that. It was an absolute insane firefight. I want to say daylight didn't come until like turn 3 or 4. I think maybe 4. Yeah, turn 4 is when we finally got daylight. So we had 3 full turns of nighttime fighting, in which case there's a lot of close combat. The Tiki Terrors got beat up quite a bit actually by the Polish in close combat. Those submachine guns don't play games. So in the end, there was 3 key objectives. To the south of the airfield, there was a fuel pump or fuel dump. In the middle of the airfield, there was like a small building, and to the north of the airfield, there was an air traffic control station. So early on, the Axis powers took all 3 locations and tried to hold them. The middle location kept flipping back and forth between Allied and Axis. In the end, the Allies did take the middle objective, the middle of the airfield, but the Axis did still hold on to both the north and the south, and by having a majority of key terrain, they were able to pull out a very hard-fought, very long victory. It was definitely a game for the record books. Like I said, 8.5 to 9 hours. It was a long game, but a lot of fun. What are you up to, Commander? Alright, let me start to go work and ping on a tank. Hey, Evolution of Gaming, the Courier, what is going on? A demo game in 3 hours, so best luck, Courier. We just finished our 8-hour, like to 9-hour long mass battle for the Malta airfield. It had some highs, it had some lows. One lunch mine was cut down in the youth of his life. One one had a Humber armored car pull up and try and shoot it point blank. Didn't kill it, so he turned around and gave it that old vehicle inspection. You know, he was like, hey, I'd like to talk to you about extended car's warranty, and shoved that lunch mine right through the armored car, took it out. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Evolution, man. I hope you feel better. There's tons of close combat. Like I said, in the beginning, in night fighting rules, there's not a lot of shooting, so you gotta get in close and just start stabbing and shooting. It gets a bit wild. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tanks to catch up on. I gotta finish these 7 tanks by the end of the month, so. Like I said, I know it's not super riveting content, exciting, but I gotta hurry up and finish these guys. That'll be the last of my vow, and I completed an absolute metric shit ton in the motor pool. I actually picked up some new models today. I was at Warpfire Minis. Highly recommend the store. Apparently they do a lot of international business actually for miniatures. So you might have heard of them. As far as an online store, I can say I actually visited their store in location. It was a mecca of tabletop wargaming. If you're into Games Workshop or World War Games types of games, that place is amazing. They had a room of like a whole bunch of like used models that people were just selling, so you can literally just kind of go in and just pick up what you want, all for a super good price. I picked up a painted King Tiger X with a heavy rail cannon. I picked it up for 20 bucks out the door. And then I also picked up a new in blister from Warlord Games, Imperial Japanese Army 20mm anti-aircraft gun. In which case I'll add a second barrel to, so I actually have a ground 20mm AA gun. Yes, Evolution. I have about two Chihas fully painted and one Hago fully painted. I have about 7 more Chihas to fully catch up on. There's about 3 more to build, actually. Got a lot of tanks. Yeah, it was, Commander, it was some insane gameplay. There's some foo bars. As far as MVPs, one MVP was one of the Polish infantry squads. It killed a lunge mine in close combat. And then it killed a full-on infantry, 10-man IJA veteran infantry paratrooper squad. Because the SMGs, that's my big takeaway from this game. Submachine guns are like condoms. You know, it's better to have them and not need them than need them and not have them. If you have any extra points in your list and you're going to do close combat, throw in an SMG. You're going to be super happy you have it when it comes to it. I definitely learned that. You know, definitely make room for SMGs in your units if you're going to do a lot of close combat. They are invaluable. You know, it's that one squad who wiped. So a lot of our paratroopers came in hurt. Trying to drop 10 paratroopers as far as a stick is, if anyone lands in impassable terrain, they're dead. So like I know one German paratrooper landed on a rock out of like the group of 6, so he died. I had one stick of 10. 2 or 3 of them landed in the oasis and drowned and died, but the other 7 were okay. So I mean, it's lethal to try and drop in like 10 guys like that because it's such a long stick. So yeah, none of them were really full strength. Every time they landed, they were always getting shot at, hit. So I mean, they lasted decently long, but anyways, that one squad ended up foobarring and turning around, absolutely SMGing a British infantry squad, which is pretty hilarious to see. I think one of the British Bofor 40mm guns also foobarred and ran off the board. One gun truck, one of their gun trucks is destroyed. One of their gun trucks, it's a transport. It got too close to my infantry, so it, you know, was destroyed / ran off the board. We knocked out one of their armored cars with a lunge mine. Like I said, yeah, I lost a lot of my army team. I lost one lunge mine to doing his job, one's lunge mine to getting killed, the other lunge mine lived. My commander was killed in a glorious fashion. I moved him up to try and hold a piece of terrain, you know, prevent the enemy from capturing it, and he maneuvered a Brin carrier nearby to it, and then popped it with a killed him with an AT rifle shot. So that was pretty cool to see. Straight up one shot domed him. It was pretty impressive, because if he hadn't, he would have been destroyed, because I would have been closer to him than this other guy. So he played very risky with his transports, but for the most part, it turned out kind of well for him. There was a lot of just wild dice throwing. Some things got lucky. They got 2 artillery rounds came in. They were obliterating infantry left and right. Like I said, a lot of my veterans landed on the runway, and they were trying to move to hold that center of the runway, and they were just taking Bofor shots. The British brought their Lee. We weren't stupid enough to attack it. Like, not a single person shot at the Lee for like 9 turns, and it just sat there and just shot left and right. It did its own thing. It obliterated people. It was dropping HE machine gun rounds everywhere, and we just tried to live to the onslaught. I feel bad. I mean, I don't take it back. I don't feel bad, but I didn't get to play my usual style, or I chose not to. I'm gonna say I didn't. I chose not to play in my usual style, and I I played very defensively and very strategically. A lot of my models, like I said, my lunge mines, I didn't really use them until the very end of the game, like 9 turns in. They're infiltrators, so I put them in on the objective and just had them go down turn after turn. Just kept putting them down. You know, a lot of my units I could have attacked with, but I kept putting down and just trying to hunker them down and just survive the onslaught. Because that's what it was all about. There was a little bit of misunderstanding in the beginning on how the objectives work. So if you have infantry that secure an objective, you know, it is your objective until another infantry unit secures it. So they have to kill your infantry unit and then have their own infantry unit 3 inches from that objective to take it. I guess there's some misinterpretation about vehicles can contest. The only way that works, the vehicle beats an infantry unit there. That infantry unit has to kill the vehicle unit and be within 3 to take the objective. A vehicle can't just zoom in to infantry holding an objective and contest it. No, they have to wipe that infantry. Even if they wipe that infantry, a vehicle sitting there doesn't do anything. It still remains the property of the force until they send in infantry units to secure it. I like this because it prevents people from just like kind of pulling last minute like zoomy stuff and just contesting all these points. Like you have to have the troops to take it, which is good because otherwise people would just be taking armored platoons and recon platoons everywhere they go. It forces you to actually use foot sloggers to use infantry. Yeah, I think everyone had a good time. I said the guy who brought his M3 got to use his M3, so he's happy about that. The guy who came down from Tennessee, he had an absolute blast. He got to use all sorts of fun stuff. I had fun. Definitely feels good to win. More importantly, it feels good to have fun. It feels good to have played a good, solid strategic game. Like I said, I didn't get to do a lot of bonsai charges or a lot of like kind of crazy normal fun stuff that I do, but it felt good to make the right decisions, you know, where I'm like, okay, I could do this, but let me go ahead and go on ambush, or let me go ahead and go down. The table is laid out pretty well. I forgot the planes. I know I painted planes just for that and I actually forgot them. It was terribly embarrassing. But we still had a lot of fun. There's one-way strip down the middle. I was at 3 key spots around it. Then there's some Kwanzaa huts and some general rock formations. When I'm telling you that was a bloody battlefield that we all stepped on with 750 points, the 4 of us, right? I think I left that match. Hold on. I had 1 lunge mine left. I had a 1 veteran paratrooper squad at probably... Oh no, they had some health. They were probably at about, we'll call it 75% health, maybe 60. And I had my AT rifle team. That was it. Everything else, the 3 other paratrooper squads dead, the commander dead, the 2 other lunge mines dead. It was absolutely lethal. My Fallschirmjäger buddies did a very good job. He put in a lot of called shots. Like I said, there wasn't much for us to do while it was nighttime. You know, that we had the first, I think, 3 or 4 turns is nighttime. And then once we finally rolled for daylight on like turn 4 or 5, I'm telling you, all the maneuvering, all hell busted loose. As soon as it was daylight, artillery, calls for airstrike, mortars, long range autocannon shots, it turned into an absolute meat grinder. Because while under the cover of darkness, I was trying to maneuver all my infantry in to secure these objectives. And I did my best to play the long game. Not a wacka, but you know, just try to think. A good point I want to say, Zern was talking about this. You know, the difference between strategy and tactics. You know, Sun Tzu, a lot of people are familiar with Sun Tzu, so Sun Tzu once said that strategy without tactics is the longest route to victory, but tactics without strategy is little more than the noise before your defeat. So this is a great example of strategy and tactics. Hey, what's going on, Francois? So my tactics were decent, but overall I focused on the strategy. I focused on the long play, the long con. And what that was to hold those key objectives come hell or high water. And high water came. Boy howdy. And they tried their damnedest to shift off those veterans. And they shifted, to their credit, they shifted a whole lot of them. They were doing, especially the Polish, were doing a very good job of pouring on the fire strategically right where it was needed. And shifting off those Imperial Japanese. But unfortunately, in the end, it just wasn't enough. I did get plenty of pictures and recaps, so I'm hoping to actually put out a bat rep for this one. And actually like an after-action report so we can actually discuss how some of these rules went down. We also tested a lot of homebrew rules, which is nice. We tested the smoke rule. We decided scattering 1d6 is not enough. 2d6 is good. So if you miss, your smoke scatters 2d6. We ended up really liking that. I think the light cover, heavy cover, the way we played it, I think that kept the game as lethal as it was. I think if we played traditional rules, that game would have been bizarre. I think nothing would have happened. We would have just like jockeyed position and just shook hands at turn 9. But I think the way we play it, where the only heavy cover is inside of a building or behind an armored vehicle, that is a game changer, because your infantry, you hug, I'm talking, you will cuddle up like it's your prom queen girlfriend. You will cuddle up to some light cover, because when that's all that's between you and, you know, medium machine guns or SMG rounds, the light cover is the most glorious thing in the world. So that's the way we played it, and I really think the cover rules worked really well. It kept that game. I mean, how bolt action should be. Every dice pull was literally life or death. Every dice pull affected the sway of that game. There was no, oh, we got this in the bag. I'm talking all the way down to the very last dice. It could swing. That was a brutal game, and it was like that for, again, 8.5 to 9 hours. Like, it was a constant tug of war match. So good. I think that's what makes it a little, obviously, I think a lot more enjoyable than Warhammer 40k is. At no point was either side like, okay, we got this, you know, this is just a formality. I think not until like literally probably the last 4 dice maybe of the whole game. It was a struggle session. You know, nobody got blown off the table. You know, the game wasn't won like list building at home or what models you had. I mean, that game was fought and won with just decisions. The models, I think, were just like a tertiary concern. It was just constantly trying to make the correct decision, and both sides, all 4 players, I want to say, and both sides made mistakes along the way. We all did, especially as we got tireder and tireder and tireder. Like I said, it's a marathon, not a sprint, especially when you're doing, you know, that long of gaming. Using AT rifles that are snipers was pretty effective. My AT rifle, he missed a lot of his shots, but I mean, every now and then he connected a couple times. He only pinned, he didn't really kill anything, but I would have used him far more than I would use a sniper, and he was a hell of a lot cheaper, so I have no regrets taking an AT rifle. Yeah, combat drops. I recommend. Huh. I'm not gonna lie. I think I recommend maybe the regular rules for combat drop. The dropping dice. Depending on how you and your opponent want to rule it, it can be spicy because if they go off the table, they go back into reserve. If they go over impassable terrain, the ones that are in impassable terrain are dead. And that's trying to play it the most nicest way possible. I said, I probably lost, I think, 25% of my paratroopers to just bad drops. And I had great drops. That's how lethal that thing was. You'll see in some of the pictures, like, it's funny, we actually, like, not even on purpose, but we dropped some of our paratroopers, like, in a perfect flying V, taking the airfield. The British and Polish, they had a lot of vehicles and a lot of troops. I think they got kind of traffic jams in their corner, and they were trying to break out, but they kept kind of blocking each other's shots. I think that was some of their problems early on. The nighttime was definitely beneficial for the paratroopers, but it just leads to close combat. That is the cool thing about playing night rules. If you feel like there's no incentive to do close combat, or assault rules, play night fighting. Play the first couple of turns in night fighting. I guarantee you're going to see some close combat. Because shooting at night's difficult. You can't see what you're shooting at. And if you do see what you shoot at and you actually shoot at it, you'll get a muzzle flash location on you, which makes you easier to shoot at later. So it's worth it to get into that close combat. It's tough, Commander. Do I think anti-tank rifles are worth taking? I think in my experience, because of the range and the penetration, I think anti-tank rifles are better, or I wouldn't say always, but for the most part, they're a better choice than taking a sniper team. I'm not sure, I'm not convinced yet that anti-tank rifles are worth taking, but they are better than taking a sniper team. If that makes sense. And if I can't fit any more lunge mines, they're not a bad choice of a unit to take. Like I said, they didn't die. They had a great overwatch position. They used a lot of ambush. They took a lot of pot shots at vehicles, troops, all sorts of stuff, and they hit some stuff every now and then. They weren't a bad unit. Like I said, it wasn't worthless. It didn't kill anything, but it pinned a couple stuff, and it acted as a deterrent, which was nice. Do I think a lunge mine is better than an AT rifle? Absolutely. About probably 100 times better. But AT rifle is also not a bad selection. If you're looking at units to round out your army and you have, a decent amount left, there's nothing wrong with an AT rifle team. Do I think an AT rifle team is better than a light mortar? That's a better question. That is tough. I don't know if it's just me, but I'm having a hard time get my mortars to hit. Hey, what's going on, Grim Tim? Hey man, you're Italians. Paint them however you want. Slay the gray, but they're wearing gray uniforms. What do you do? Paint the faces, paint the weapons, and with the uniform, you only have to go historic if you want to. Italians do like their flair. You can paint kind of whatever uniforms you want on them. Maybe do like Carabinieri, give them like those stylistic black uniforms. But how you doing, Grim Tim? But Commander, that's a very good question. So, are AT rifles worth it? Sometimes. An AT rifle, to me, is worth it over a sniper team, unless you're doing something crazy, But then again, the times you would know to take a sniper, you would be list building. You know, if you know they have certain stuff, you bring a sniper, but then again, that kind of gets to the list building territory. AT rifle is not a bad way to fill out a list. But if you have the choice between an AT rifle and a light mortar, ooh, that's tough. I want to say probably a light mortar, just so you can absolutely harass any type of artillery, like static artillery they have. But an AT rifle is not bad at all. Ooh, the Alpini, very nice. Half man, half mountain goat. I actually went to a couple Alpini festivals celebrating their service when I was up in northern Italy. Those guys are, if they're truly humans, you know, are completely animals at mountain climbing. You like blink and they're already like half a mile up the trail, up the mountain. It's insane. But you do still have like the feathers in their calves and stuff like that you can work on, so they're not fully gray. Bessiglieri. I only know how to pronounce that because I was there. That's those words. If I looked at it, I would not be able to pronounce it unless I'd actually known how to say it. Fun fact, shameless plug, I actually do have a video on the Bessiglieri for the Kingdom of Italy on the channel for Conflict 47. I'm sure you guys saw the news about Conflict 47. They're going to be talking about it at Adepticon. New rules coming in. That's absolutely awesome to see. Warp Fire Miniatures, again, not sponsored, but I was there all day and I absolutely love the store. They were super friendly. Everything you'd want in a gaming store, right? Super absolutely friendly. They had all sorts of bolt action models for sale, including a shit ton of Conflict 47. I picked up a King Tiger X with a heavy rail cannon for 20 bucks. Irish, who's generally always my teammate in these games. Irish is a good man. Good buddy to have. Good buddy on the tabletop. He plays his Germans very well. He's a very solid tactical mind set. He picked up a Panther X. So that was pretty nice. I'm worried. I think he's going German for the Fall of Berlin game that we're doing in May. So it'll be sad not to be fighting alongside Irish and actually, unfortunately, possibly going up against them. That's gonna be sad. I've been playing with Irish now for about 2 matches. We've been teammates. So for the Fall of Berlin game, I will be running a 1,000-point 83rd Military Police Platoon, so that'll be a lot of fun. I'm trying to keep it as historical as I can. Oh my god, Commander, so if you want to know what takes me so long with these Lord videos, like the actual, like, West Europe from 1945 to, like, 1947, I'm telling you right now, half of it's editing, and, like, the other half is learning how to pronounce everything. Especially the Far East Asia. Oh my sweet lord. And if you watch the West Europe, they're like, you mispronounced Kane, or it's Can, or Canes, or Con. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna say Con. Usually I go with what the British pronunciation is and just go with that. Especially the Eastern Front, you know, where it's like Sevastopol and Vladivostok, you know. I'm like, Jesus. Oh, it's like, I'm glad I've heard these things pronounced before, otherwise I'd be hosed. Galitsnia, you know, I'm like, oh, Jesus. You know how it is, it's the internet. You mispronounce one of those places, you're hosed. I know, I'm sorry guys, I know it's not the most quote-unquote riveting painting content, you know, it's painting these tracks, but I'm here to kind of talk about the after-action report for the second Battle of Malta. It was a lot of fun. I'm just trying to catch up and finish these tanks before my deadline. My deadline is the end of the month, and I need to finish these 7 Chihas, so I'm kind of going into automated factory painting mode. I watched the Germans put out a lot of mortar shots between their light mortars, medium mortars. It's tough. You got to pick and choose your targets. You got to aim wisely. Some targets move, so you can't dial in. I feel like this edition mortars just keep missing. Maybe it's me and Irish just have fishy dice, but we cannot get mortars to go off to save our damn life. So. But, like I said, you bring up a great question, Commander, which I liked, about AT rifles. They're not bad, but for the points, or if you have the choice between an AT rifle and a light mortar team, I think 9 times out of 10 you're going to go with the light mortar team. And that's not being like a tactical whack-a, that's just strategic flexibility. You know, well, depends what nation. So remember, I learned this today, and it's actually written in the rules. It's hilarious. German light mortars can't fire smoke. I have no idea. Well, no clue. But it's like literally written on their stuff that they can't. So, with that being said, other than them, other nations' light mortars have a lot of tactical and strategic flexibility. Hey, what's going on, Bad Rabbit? We're just working on our tanks. Yeah, there was some bonsai charges. So one was unsuccessful. I tried to bonsai charge with a very crippled veteran infantry platoon of paratroopers. Again, all my guys generally had like at least 8 pins on them. So they had like 8 pins. It didn't go off even with the reroll. However, the lunge mine, he didn't even have to bonsai. An armored car came up and shot at him point blank with a light autocannon and put some HE hate into him. All I gave him was a pin. He had no cover, no nothing. So he turned around, issued the assault order, and just closed with him and just nailed him. Rocked him with that lunge mine. The other thing is, I don't think it wasn't a bad idea. I think the way the match laid out, I just didn't get a chance to use it. So, let you guys know, I paid points to take AT grenades. So I took 4 veteran, we'll call them IJAF, Imperial Japanese Army Air Force. So I took 4 IJAF 10-man veteran paratrooper squads, right? And I paid to take the AT grenades on all of them. So that's 2 points a model. So that's 80 points right there. 80 points in a 750 point list. I did not use a single AT grenade in any of those 4 squads. But I'm not upset I paid for it, because I'm pretty sure that was a concern. They kept some tanks away from my infantry for this exact reason. So you still get the deterrence and the psychological factor. Not sure if it's worth the point cost, but I also didn't get a chance to do it because, like I said, I played very... hopefully this term doesn't bother people. I don't mean it in a political sense. I mean it in the classic sense of the term. I played very conservatively, very defensive, very... I don't know. I played very mindful of my units. Very unlike my usual, School of Morty and Glory, ABC, always be charging, high mobility, GLA style tactics. I played very turtle, very defensively. It won us the game. It just felt weird. So with that being said, I didn't get a chance to use any of the AT grenades on any of my 4 squads. So was those 80 points worth it? It's hard to say that, because I know it scared his tanks away a couple of times. It felt good to have that option where you could literally take it all comes. Infantry, small vehicle, or small vehicle, armored tank, small child, small furry animal, didn't matter. Those guys were gonna shoot and kill whatever it is. There was a good moment where I still had a full strength 10-man IJAF paratrooper squad holding one of the objectives. So he tried to move in with one team. He shot at him. They didn't really kill anybody. So the second team, I knew his second team was coming. His second team was going to come in and get in that close combat assault. Because his first time he close combat assaulted my guys at night, he did really well. Those submachine guns, I'm telling you. I have veteran riflemen, and they're fanatic, don't get me wrong. They'll win a lot of close combat, but SMGs can really swing close combat. I'm starting to understand why people are taking these SMG inexperienced close combat units. Yeah, they die, but oh my god, they're so dangerous. Hey, what's going on, Mark? Mark of Talabek Land. Probably one of my favorite old world players. What's going on, Mark? Glad you can make the stream. We're the painting is not that interesting. We're just kind of painting tracks on tanks. I'm trying to finish my vow, but we're doing a after action report and lessons learned from the big second battle of Malta. If you guys are in the Mortian Discord, you guys can go down to the bolt action section and see some of the pictures early, and you can see kind of turn by turn how it went. We played 7 turns, Mark, 7 full turns. 4-player bolt action, 1,500 points on each side. We were there at opening. We ordered pizza half the way through. We were like the last guys to finish the game. We didn't hold them up. We weren't like those people where it was like, hey, keep the lights on for us. We finished before the store closed, but we played all the way to closing. And we were probably the loudest table. There was a lot of ups and a hell of a lot of downs for both sides. I played a lot of... I'm not going to say it's like the best game I've ever played. I wouldn't say that. I mean, it was fun, don't get me wrong. But this is probably the most, I guess, taxing game. Like, it was absolutely a tug of war. I can't stress enough, every single dice mattered. You never knew who was swinging from what was going to do this, what was going to flip this. Like, every inch counted, but when you made a mistake, you felt it. You moved one unit too close, you felt that mistake. I was just describing it. I came down to the end, and he was about to charge one of my rifleman squads. I could have put him on ambush and shot him as he came in, but I'm like, you know what? Let me take the time and shoot him while he's far away. And I'm glad I did, because I still had 10 riflemen. A lot of people kind of sneeze at that, like, that's the other thing too. When you have 10 or 15 IJA or IJAF rifleman squads that are veterans, don't forget to shoot with them. It's not all close combat. 10 or 15 rifle shots is still 10 or 15 rifle shots, particularly against regulars. you will put down 2 or 3 of them, and that hurts them. That's less swinging that they have, and it's a pin on them. So by the time he came in for close combat, we were able to finally hold our own. Luckily, he charged us, and we were behind defense, so we got to swing first, and we dropped 5 of them, which is good, because for the Imperial Japanese, unless he can kill, 5 or 6 guys, we're going to win that combat. So I will say this, the biggest lesson learned, to kind of recap this for the guys just joining us, I said it before, it's a funny catchphrase, I'm going to say it again. Submachine guns are the condoms of the bolt-action world. You'd rather have them and not need them than need them and not have them. They are worth it. If you have those extra points you're looking at what to spend it on, take some submachine guns in any unit that you think is going to get in close combat. From someone who just had rifles up against someone who had submachine guns, even though I had Fanatic, I really wish I had more submachine guns. I am so happy on my Mai Tai motor rifle list, my NCOs at least had submachine guns, because holy sweet lord, does it make a difference. And the British, and so the guy who played the Polish, which is RK, very, very great player, very friendly person to play against. I would drive all the way to Tennessee to play against him. Enjoyable person, very friendly, definitely kind of person you'd want to play against. A kind of guy who would win most sportsmen, hands down, right? Very good guy, but he made a lot of good tactical decisions where instead of assaulting, he would advance. So he'd move and shoot to try and put himself within 6 inches and then try and assault the next turn. So it's not bad. Yeah, there's a lot of baiting, Commander. There was a lot of baiting on both sides. Jokingly, aggressively, we're like, oh, you could leave your post and come out. Like, they kept trying to bait my lunge mines with their vehicles. Yeah, I did not want to abandon my post, Towards the end, I finally had to, because he moved in where I had no cover, and he could just put in, like, hate, unobliterated onto me, so I had to engage and sacrifice my lunge mine. But I'd already secured that objective with additional backup forces. So, yeah, the M3 lead, that thing is dangerous, guys. You gotta, with the M3 lead, you have to try and stay out of its firing arc, so that main gun can fire front and to the right. So, yeah, you gotta stay cognizant of where the lead's facing and try and maneuver around it. It could be a pain. It could drop a lot of rounds. The Bofors were a pain. We had 2 AA guns that were just an absolute nightmare. We tried the smoke rules, and if you miss, it's scattered 1d6. They brought up a good point. It's not enough, because it's either going to scatter like 1 inch or 6 inches. That's not very much. So making it scatter 2d6 is way better than having like your opponent pick where the smoke goes. So, and that actually makes smoke work it, because if you miss, nothing happens. So it worked both ways too. There's smoke the smoke obscured some of his guys from us. Smoke kind of saved my life multiple times. It stayed on the board for a while. It's very exciting to roll for. So if you take none of the other homebrew rules with you, that is one I would try. So when you're using smoke, if you hit, the smoke goes where you say it does. If you miss, roll your order dice as your scatter die, and then roll 2d6 and let that thing scatter. And then roll for it every turn to see if it stays on the board or if it shifts. It is a lot of fun. I feel like it really adds to the game. Especially if you're following if you stack that with our cover rules, where only hiding behind armored vehicles 7 up and higher, including destroyed wrecks, or inside of buildings count as heavy cover, not on the other side. So the same thing, I had guys stacked up on the outside of buildings, and they were only getting light cover, because, rounds travel down walls and stuff like that, So, to me, it makes that game a bolt action. It gives it its lethality back. But not too lethal. It forces you to play with good tactics. And the reason why I like that is it goes back to, if you take tactics out of the game, then it just becomes who has the better list building, who has lists, right? But if you keep tactics in the game, if you keep it to where you can't just like run out there and do all this kind of stuff, I don't know, it just puts a lot more emphasis on the decision making, and I feel that's where the game of Bolt Action really shines. So that is another thing I will say. So that being said, everyone who played was a gym to play against. A lot of us are kind of like pretty new to Bolt Action 3rd edition. I think that's only like my second or third edition game, right? But I now understand why there are how and why you can use a chess clock in Bolt Action. So my recommendation is, if you feel like someone is slow playing you, luckily no one was. We had 4 good players. But it starts getting very important later on in the game, and people can really kind of wear you down. You know, it's like, oh, are we going to make it to this turn? Hey, we only have so many hours. When you're playing a big game like that, slow playing is real. And the perception of it can be real. So when someone gets their dice, like when you hand them their dice, you can start a start clock. It's not so much as like a chess clock, the best way to think about it. I don't think chess clocks belong in Bolt Action, but I think stopwatches do. I know, spicy take, right? For Bolt Action, particularly competitive, if you're worried about slow play, you can always do a stopwatch, because that way you can show your opponent how long they're taking. Like, come on, this is like, hey, you're approaching 6, 10 minutes, 15 minutes on your turn. And you can actually just keep track of this, you know, start and stop. The other person starts when you get your dice, and as soon as your dice down, they stop. And same thing, if they do ambush, you stop, they start. When they're done, you start, stop. You just keep track of how much time each other's using. If you're really worried about slow play, it'll point out who's playing slow very quickly. So I think Woodimp posted a picture of a chess clock next to the Bolt Action thing. I don't know about chess clock. I'm not sure how they'd be utilized, but I can absolutely understand how a stopwatch can be utilized. Oh yeah. And there's so many rule changes from 2nd edition. There's so many rules we need to look up to figure out. Like a great example, if you set a unit on ambush and you don't trigger his ambush, you wait till the end of turn and let him you know, try and take a fire order, you have to pass an order test for that, even if they have no pin markers. That was one thing we had to look up. We looked up so many rules. There are some wild ones. I'm trying to think, what are some exciting? Oh, so they got in, only one of them brought an artillery observer, but once it was daylight, they brought down just absolute barrages on us, and some of those hurt. But luckily, through all the flak they brought, one guy brought double Bofors, so he actually had like 40mm anti-aircraft guns in the flight line. The other guy brought a whole bunch of trucks with pencil-mounted machine guns and all sorts of other manner of vehicles, so when Irish finally called his airstrike, his first airstrike, it broke off. You know, the skies were empty. On his second attempt, it made it through the flak. It took a shit ton of hits, but it only took 2 hits. It did not take that third hit. It came close, but it only took 2 hits. And so I can tell you right now, strategically placing your airstrike is a game changer. The damage is good, don't get me wrong, but it's about those pins, baby. That is where the money is. He pinned, the way he picked it, he pinned just about everything on their side of the board, and it was massive. That being said, with the British, because the Polish player had the vengeance rule, I know a lot of guys lean towards the rapid fire. The rapid fire for the British isn't as good as for the Americans. The Americans get it every 3 rifles. British get it every 4. Honestly, I can tell you this. I saw the Vengeance special national characteristic play off better for the British than I did the rapid fire. And I got rapid fire shot a lot with rifles. But the Vengeance, that's the first time I see someone really use the Vengeance. And it is really good. So if you're building your British list, you're not sure what national characteristic to take. Honestly, if you don't have just a whole bunch of stock rifle units, if you actually have a mixture of SMGs and LMGs, I don't even think your rapid fire is worth it. I think it's better to take Vengeance or one of the other ones. Just don't overlook Vengeance. I saw it today and it played really, really well. But definitely play test it. Yeah, you know, your mileage may vary. It's up to your tactics, how you want to play your guys, you know. But just telling you lessons learned from the long game I had today. I saw that and I was impressed by how well it worked. Kind of regret not taking a light mortar in my team and taking that AT rifle, but I don't know. I feel like I would have whiffed most of my mortar shots anyways. So with our special rule for smoke, I think mortars are pretty worth it. But if you're playing stock rules, I don't know, man. I think I'd be more comfortable with the AT rifle. But I can tell Ford Air Observers and Ford Artillery Observers are worth their points, man. They both did really, really well. Just be careful taking a 2-person team for Ford Air Observer or Ford Artillery Observer, because if you lose one, that's 50% of your team, and you're going to have to take that morale check. So even if you're Fanatic, you still have to take that check. So I'd either take him as a single unit, or, you know, take him as a 3-person unit. Because otherwise they're really easy to kill, because you only have to kill one, and then boom, you got that order test. Yeah, if you're playing the British, that double artillery barrage, that's good, man, because that also puts out shit ton of pins. Just be careful. You can. I've seen it before. I saw it on tabletop. You can get friendly fire with those artillery barrages, so be careful. Not just pins, but also you can roll that 6 to get that big Howie shot. I saw gun trucks used pretty well. You know, transports and machine guns, as long as you keep them away from the enemy, they're pretty decent. A lot of people don't want to take because they're scared about people getting those 6s and popping them, but you do still have to get a 6. And that's a pretty good little mobile machine gun team, so. Oh, we did have a really good rule discussion. Something I wanted to clarify. Someone who does take the, moto surfing and takes gun trucks. Okay, so, I have a ho-ha. You know what? Actually, I have 2 perfect vehicles to demonstrate this, right? So we have a ho-ha here, and let me grab a truck. Alright, so we do have 2 transport vehicles here. It's a nice little painting break for me. Alright, so we have 2 vehicles right here. We have what I normally take as a light truck with a medium machine gun. So that's going to run you like 38 points, right? Regular truck, medium machine gun. Over here is a ho-ha. Let's say we run this ho-ha as a medium, right? So the rules for a transport vehicle is it has the bare minimum crew. A transport vehicle has enough crew to fire 1 mounted / crew weapon. It's important. I'm going somewhere with this, I promise. So, this regular truck has enough crew to fire the medium machine gun, and it uses its regular rule because you're paying for that veterancy. This ho-ha has 3 machine guns. It has left, right, and rear. So it can fire. If I took this, If I took this ho-ha as a regular, it can fire just one of those weapons with the regular profile. Now here's where things get a little weird. Enter the Kempotai. So Kempotai are There we go. So enter the Kempotai. Kempotai are inexperienced. They're 15-point inexperienced political officers, secret police. They can be taken with SMGs. They're 15 points and they're inexperienced. Very important, they're inexperienced. So, if I have a Kempotai for 15 points riding in this light truck that has just 1 medium machine gun pencil mounted, if this truck uses its die, the die for the truck, not for the Kempotai, the die for the truck to advance where it can move and then shoot, it is shooting this pencil mounted medium machine gun with the regular veterancy of the transport. The Kempotai is not firing that medium machine gun. They have their own die, and usually a person in a transport goes down. So if the truck advances and moves and shoots, and it's regular veterancy, which I advocate always taking regular, it shoots that medium machine gun with regular. The ho-ha. If this advances, if I use the dice for the ho-ha to advance to move and shoot, it can shoot one of these guns with the regular profile. if you want to shoot one of the other guns, you'd have to use the Kimpatai who's on board. And if they shoot, they're shooting at inexperienced. This may sound like I'm going weird with this. I promise it's relevant. The reason being is because I heard multiple different things. Someone saying, hey, if you put an inexperienced person in a truck, they're the ones who use the gun, not the truck crew, so therefore you'll always be shooting at inexperienced. 100% not true, because otherwise why are you paying the points to take the transport as a regular? If you pay the points to take the transport as a regular, by the rules, you have enough crew on that transport to fire one crew-served weapon at the regular profile. If you have multiple guns, like the Ho-Ha, if you want to shoot a different one, then you'd have to use the onboard crew. If I had a veteran heavy infantry, you know, one gun would shoot with the regular profile, and another gun would shoot with the veteran profile. If that makes sense. So a nice little rules discussion with Tiki, because I wanted to bounce these guys, because you know me, gun trucks and moto surfing is very critical to the way I play, so I wanted to bounce this off as many people as possible to see how everybody else felt. And yeah, that's how it works. So in case you run across someone, don't let them. So the reason why I say that is this is still a viable tactic, especially for the Imperial Japanese, because we don't have a lot, guys. So we got to stick to what we got. It's a little thin. It's a little thin around here, so we got to make use of what we got. So a medium light truck. I say medium, sorry. A regular light truck with a medium machine gun is going to run you about 38 points. You add a 15-point Kimpatai on that, and you have a very mobile, fast attack truck. You can get as close as you want to infantry. I mean, they can still assault you and take it, by the way, you're a truck. But you don't have to worry about being closer to them than to your own units and the vehicle blowing up. For the same thing, you can also put your commander in here, and it's a command aura. Makes your commander a little bit more survivable. It gives them, they can still issue out snap 2s, still have that morale bonus of being an officer. It works really well. Also, a rules discussion we talked about today is infantry officers. Ooh, you know, that's a good question, because I think maybe company commanders are different. But a rifle platoon officer cannot give orders to an armored platoon vehicle. So if you have, you know, your rifle platoon officer, and he's right next to, we'll say like this Hago tank, right? He cannot give snap 2 orders to him. Same thing, he does not get a bonus from his leadership aura either. That's the way we played it. We'll look into the rules. That being said, I think a company commander may be different. That's something we're all going to kind of talk about and figure out. I think it may be why company commander is so useful, because you got to remember, company commander holds sway over all of the platoon officers. So also with that being said, as far as the smoke rules, Commander, another thing I may be implementing for the Clash of the Caribbean game, I'm not sure. One of the matches, I think there will be a preliminary bombardment, but I think it's just going to be smoke. A lot of people don't like preliminary bombardment because you get all these models painted, you put your models down, and then it's just a randomness of the dice to who gets kicked in the dick. It's like, hey, let's have a fair game, but let's also play Russian roulette at the very beginning. It's kind of weird, so I think a lot of people are going to be like, hey, let's kind of, you know, maybe just pop smoke with it. Commander, are you playing Battlefield Gothic 1 or 2? I'm not going to lie, I think I liked 1 a little bit better. 2 is good, though. And if you like space combat games, Commander, it's not the same universe, but if you find it on sale, I can't recommend enough. If you really like crunchy space combat, the game who did it the best, it's not my favorite IP, but it did it the best, is Battlestar. Battlestar Galactica Deadlocked. To me, that is currently the best space combat sim, I think, on the market. It's done in 6-second intervals. So, and it's blind to your enemy. You can't really see what your enemy's doing. So you play for 6 seconds, and then you can decide how to move all your ships and what you want to do, and then it plays out another 6 seconds. It is good. So, if you like crunchy ship combat or interstellar space combat, I'm not sure how you feel about the Battlestar Galactica IP, but Battlestar Galactica Deadlock is really good. Yeah, I think one has the better story, and I just like the way the ships kind of upgrade. I felt like it was a little bit more personal. I have it. You know what? I nailed. I think I got the best example. Battlefleet Gothic 1 felt more like Dawn of War 2, where Battlefleet Gothic 2 feels like Dawn of War 2 Retribution. Not bad, but just wildly different. So yeah, Bad Rabbit, yeah. So Deadlock, dude, it is difficult, unforgiving. I know I probably use the term crunchy too much. So when I say crunchy, I mean like very lethal, very unforgiving. Everything matters. So, especially the campaign. The campaign can be very good. Battlestar Galactica, Deadlock's a damn good game. Hey, what's going on, Sean? Sean, you missed a hell of a fight for Malta. Oh, that was everything a tabletop wargaming should be. And it lasted 8.5 to 9 hours. Every dice was important. Everything was a good kind of stressful. You second guessed every decision you made. Oh, everything you could want in a war game. Good people too. Irish Trooper and RK. Super good people, all in the Morning community. Good cats, each and every one of them. The Axis barely pulled that one out. Hey, what's going on? Oh, favorite conflict for something, because I appreciate it. Probably the only one, but still your favorite, which is nice. I'll take it. I will take it. But hopefully there will be more. I think Conflict 47 is going to get popular with their talking about the rules release. So hopefully you'll have more to choose from than just me. And competition breeds better product. So I'll always be free. So I got that going for you. Yeah, no, it absolutely was. Sean, the first 3 or 4 turns were nighttime where we couldn't see anything. So it led to close combat, no guns, stabby, absolutely lethal. Just close combat, killing people, fighting over objectives, and then we were all maneuvering to get on the objectives at nighttime. And then the sun came up, almost like a flare, and as soon as the sun came up, just hell opened up. Artillery, mortars, 40mm AA guns, light autocannons, the M3 Lee shooting off at 75mm. Dude, as soon as the sun came up, it was just hell let loose on that airfield. And a lot of my poor paratroopers had just made their landing. They landed in the cover of darkness and they're trying to move to cover or move to an objective, and they were just caught out in the open. And a lot of them were just cut to ribbons. Luckily, they were cut to ribbons over 4 or 5 turns. It took a long time to eradicate them, but they soaked up a lot of fire and allowed other units to secure the objective. There was a lot of sacrificing. Like I said, it felt weird to me because usually I play very aggressive, always be charging, always do the kind of fun stuff. Or this one I played much more restrained, pulled back, and tried to be as strategic and work with my partner as possible. And just sacrificing units left and right to try and hold those objectives. Honestly, with the exception of with a lot of the automatic weaponry, that actually that's a really good description. I'll run it by the other guys too. That felt like a World War I battle. It felt like a World War I 28mm tabletop game. With sneaking in at night, and, all the night fighting and close combat, and then the sun comes up and just artillery and just absolute heinous bloodshed. it felt like World War One. If you ever played Battlefield 1, that's exactly what this battle is like. Just absolute mud and blood. Trucks, armored vehicles coming up, machine gunning guys from close range, them catching AT rifle rounds and getting punched through. It was good though. We gotta see everything. We gotta see smoke. We gotta see we gotta test the heavy cover versus light cover rule. We brought in artillery barrages, airstrikes, and messed around with flak. We gotta actually test the night fighting rules, and we tested those night fighting rules to the point where my teammate Irish, mad shout out to him. He took the time to shoot one of RK's gun trucks, one of his light transport vehicles that has a mounted gun. There was better targets. He's like, no, I want to shoot that truck. I didn't understand why he was doing it at the time. So he nails this truck, and the best thing is it's destroyed, so he sets it on fire. Night fighting rules. Every model within 6 inches of that truck that's on fire is now illuminated. So, you know, the rifle squad who was behind light cover next to that truck, you know, now when we roll to hit them, now we have like a +6 to our inches to be able to see and shoot them. Yeah, I can't tell you enough right now. Night fighting rules. If you haven't done it yet and you have the time with Bolt Action 3, night fighting rules. Dawn Assault, do it. You will not regret it. It changes everything. It makes close combat realistic again. It makes you I can't advocate it enough. It's like survival mode on Fallout. You know, it's like once you do it, you're not gonna want to go back. You're like, this is fun to do. You can either do it at the beginning of the game or at the end of the game. At the end of the game, it could go into, you know, nighttime. You know, halfway through the game, the moon could start setting, and now you're stuck fighting in the dark. It is a lot of fun. It's not easy though. So, if you feel like you're ready for it, I feel like maybe no one else has tested it yet. I don't know. But I'm definitely be sending out a little letter to Warlord Games telling them that they nailed the night fighting rules. We play tested them every which way we could. We abused them, tried to break them. You know, night fighting rules are good, and they are absolutely lethal. And it's a good combo with the combat drop, because it makes sense doing a night drop, you know? So, a little bit more survival, too. Yeah, so if you're worried about people using, you know, a whole bunch of, like, howling cows or laying mattresses or doing gun lines, just offer night fighting. Because you can't sit back and try and shoot at people. It doesn't work. You're just going to let them have a turn or two of being able to move freely on the tabletop. Yeah, so Francis, I'm gonna do a full bat rep for it. I was constantly lambasted for not doing one for the other one by the 4 people I was playing with. So I took 30-second turn reviews at the end of each turn. And I tried to take as many pictures as I could. So I'm gonna put out a legit bat rep, not a narrative one, like not like my radio audio drama, but like a legitimate battle report. Bad Rabbit, I don't think it went through, buddy. What's up? All right. Wait, one. God, I haven't heard that in a minute. Yeah, all the guys who do like the D-Day and the Normandy drops, like I wonder if they're doing the night fighting rules, because that's what made it feel so fun. It literally felt like kind of like Band of Brothers were making that night drop. You know, it was pretty cool to have IJAF and Fallschirmjägers making a night drop together. Obviously, I know it's not historical, guys, but it is a lot. It is a lot of fun. They work really well together. It's not super historical, but doing Imperial Japanese working with Germans, it feels fun to play together. The two forces really complement each other too. Because you have kind of mass forces that have fanatic and veterans, but they don't have a lot of high-tech small arms. Versus you have highly efficient, high-tech small armed forces with high-tech weaponry. So the IJA kind of give you your broad angle, where the Germans have very pinpoint usefulness. So when you put them together, they work really well together. Yeah, so when you do night fight, you can either pick which one you want, or you can roll on a d6 table. We picked Dawn Assault. So what it is you start the game and it's nighttime. You roll at the beginning of every turn, and what you need is you're looking for an 8. You roll a d6 plus whatever the turn is. So it's turn 2, you roll a d6 plus 2. Turn 3, a d6 plus 3. And you're looking to get that ocho. Yeah, Bad Rabbit. I've sadly killed my own guys before too. It made me sad. Yeah, I use Raptors a lot, and I use a lot of carriers. Oh, nice. Yeah, I look forward to seeing it, man. I'll definitely watch it and leave a comment. I think it's the tactical Raptors that have the rockets. Yeah, I think those are my favorite. Yeah, those are the ones that have the boarding teams too, the Marines. Yeah, with those rockets are pretty sweet. But yeah, so, like I said, some of our takeaways after Action Report Sean was AT rifles, better, in my opinion, better than sniper teams, cheaper. Not sure if they're always better than light mortar teams. I think it's kind of a situation dependent how you want to build your army. Submachine guns, God, if you have the room, take them. If you were like 5 points away, don't show up with 995 point list to 1,000 point event. Take that extra SMG and throw it somewhere. Yeah, use those submachine guns. God, I can't express enough how, because they got my goat. They jumped my squad in close combat early on. He had those SMGs and he was able to do the. So I keep forgetting, in Conflict 47, an SMG gives you 2 swings. It's good, but it's not bad, right? And Bolt Action 3rd Edition, it gives you re-rolls. That's, to me, it's a horse of a different color. Those re-rolls in close combat are everything. Alright. Getting these tracks done. Slow. I know it's not the most riveting painting footage, but you know, I'm trying to catch up. Trying to knock out all these tracks, knock out the tracks in the tank, and hopefully get these painted by the end of the month. A lot of painting to do. We definitely will be in the stream at 4 only because I'm tired, because I did do, you know, 8.5 hours to 9 hours of bolt action. That's on top of, you know, all the driving. So, fortunately, we will be ending at 4 today, but next stream, guys, next stream is probably going to be a long one. So, we may start early and go late. Just so we can finish these tanks. I think what else did we learn, like, as far as like after actions lessons learned from that game? Be careful putting your. I think deploying for quarters really threw a lot of people off, including myself. But be careful putting your artillery guns. You know, he had 40mm AA guns. Be careful putting those around the map edge, because when you foobar, you're gonna run off the table, and that's what happens. And remember, empty armored transport don't automatically get destroyed if they're close to the enemy. They do get that morale check first. So that makes taking a whole bunch of brain carriers pretty useful instead of trucks. Not only do they have that armor, that 7-up armor, but they also get that morale check in case they get too close to the enemy. But yeah, Warpar Games, man, they had a whole room dedicated to bolt action. It was like walking in and seeing the Holy Grail at like Last Crusade. It was pretty cool to see, especially the used section. They just had a whole bunch of just used bolt action Comic 47 painted models for an insanely low price. Like I said, I'll probably repaint it, but I picked up a King Tiger X with a heavy railgun, even though I did not need or want one. For 20 bucks, I was like, I don't need or want a King Tiger X, but I do for 20 bucks. No worries, Commander. Yeah, the campaigns are the toughest part. Yeah, it's all very low resources, but not a bad game. Definitely up there. As far as tactical games, definitely up there. Right now, the video game that has my attention, I still play it listed here now and then, but I am doing a survival playthrough on Fallout 4. Absolutely brutally difficult. No mods, so I'm doing a no mods survival playthrough of Fallout 4. If you haven't done that and you're a Fallout fan, highly recommend it. Remember, no mods. It's difficult. It just consumes a lot of time. Oh god, you say 340 or 34? Oh man. You got it for 34, you got it for a really good steal. Well done. I'm not gonna lie, so that's why I picked up the King Tiger X, because they had a King Tiger X with a heavy railgun, and they had a Panther X with the shear field projector, right? Irish was there, and he was picking like, which one should I get? They're both 20 bucks. I was like, honestly, to me, in my opinion, for Conflict 47 for the Germans. Oh no, you're good. I got you. Oh yeah, no, great price, dude. Good steal. The Panther X to me is the better choice, and the reason why I say the Panther X, now that I own both, the Panther X, you still have that 10 armor in the front because of the Panther special rule. You still have your Bow mini machine gun with Hitler's buzzsaw, but more importantly, that field projector. It'll smurf up any armor you go against, and the heavier the armor, the more damage it does. But what a lot of people forget about the field projector is if you hit an infantry unit, not killed, not damaged, but just hit, not only is it pinned, but more importantly, that infantry unit cannot run next turn. That is the best thing. So you can literally, if someone's trying to run for an objective, or they're trying to run heavy infantry or zombies up the board, or, you know, Ursus infantry or Shrek Wolfen, you can literally hit it with that Schwerfield projector. So the King Tiger X, it's lethal, but against armor. It's not going to do much against infantry. The Panther X is an absolute menace on tabletop. It'll fuck anything over, between the Hitler's buzzsaw mini machine gun, with the way it can stop infantry from running, the way it compounds and hurts tanks harder, the heavier they're kitted out. Yeah, the Panther X is the hands down go-to choice. Bar none, do not pass go. It's hands down, it is phenomenal. It is a take all comes, super flexible armor support for your forces. The King Tiger X is sexy, don't get me wrong. With a heavy rail cannon, it is cool. That is what, so the King Tiger X is what you would use to knock out medium to heavy walkers from far away. That's what that's used for. Or the Panther X, anything within its firing range. And that Schwerfield projector has a very long firing range. I think it's like 48. I haven't played Korean War. I've looked at it. You know, I like the MASH set, but I don't, like, you know, probably like many other Americans, I don't know enough about the Korean War, and I don't know enough about the Korean War bolt action to really kind of have a good educated opinion, but it does kind of pique my interest. So Bad Rabbit, American paratroopers and bolt action cannot take BARs. Only the glider infantry can. So you're still airborne, but you're not a paratrooper. You're a glider guy. They can take BARs, whereas the paratroopers can take a light machine gun, like a little 30 cal with a pistol grip on it. But yeah, I think you did great, Grim Tim. I think that the Panther X is, yeah, basically, yeah, it's a little 1919. Yeah, the little guy, the little 30 cal. I'm glad you mentioned that, Sean. They are absolutely coming out with that. They're coming out with the Bush Wars down in Africa, and they're going to be releasing it for both rule sets. Squig Hunter Sean, they're going to be releasing it for Black Powder and for Bolt Action. That has been confirmed from multiple Warlord Games interviews. Yes, Grim Tim, yeah, like I said, yeah, that is the 1919, yeah. Browning, 30 cal, pistol grip, you know, operation with a tripod if you're lucky. Yep, the 1919. I don't think anybody was still rocking the potato digger. They might have. Hey, you know what, Sean? I'm glad I made your day. I will find where that video is, good brother, and I will send that your way. Yes, sir. That they want to release it with both rule sets, so you can play it either way. I thought you might like that. Yeah, they're actually, when they talk about it, they're very passionate about that. I think that's something they really want to put out and play over at the shop. Yeah, Commander, I think my favorite ship is, there's a light escort carrier that I really enjoy. Oh, you know what? You're right. Squick Hunter Sean, you're right. I did misread that. I'm sorry. I'm tired. No excuse. But, yeah, you're right. I am thinking the Boer Wars, not the Bush Wars. So by Bush Wars, are you talking like Africa, Cold War, you know, Rhodesia, and, you know, Zimbabwe, the ANC, the Cubans? Are you talking about that Bush Wars? Because that sounds badass. Yeah, the Rhodesian rifle. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I think for that, I'd rather see it as Team Yankee, you know, or Flames of War or whatever. I think that scale does it a little bit better. Again, not getting political about it, but the tactics-wise, the tactics of the Rhodesians, man, revolutionary. Those guys revolutionized light air mobile forces. Very impressive what they could do. Again, not political, not taking sides, just viewing the tactics in a neutral standpoint. If anyone ever plays what's that called? War game Red Dragon. I think the newest one. They keep releasing content. I think they just released Italians for it, but yeah, Red Dragon. If you ever played that, actually the South Africans is probably one of my favorite expansion pack. I utilize South Africans a lot. Yeah, that would be good. But yeah, I'm sorry, Spoke Hunter Shine. I got your hopes up. I thought you meant Boer Wars. Which, to be fair, that's going to be awesome as well. Hey, Nathan, what's going on, buddy? Not the most riveting painting sequence. We're just doing treads on tanks. But we've been discussing the after action report for my 8.5 hour to 9 hour bolt action game today. It was an event. It was a blast, but very consuming. The Axis won, so you'll be safe to know in the alternate history, there's a lot of schnitzel and pretzel shops in Malta. Ironically, next to a bunch of Zen Gardens, dojos, and sushi bars. Yeah, I'm excited to start working on the after action report, Nathan. That was an incredible game. I'm talking we fought tooth and nail. Trying to think if there's anything that wasn't in the game. Okay, no one did tank shock for obvious reasons because I had AT grenades. I think that's probably the only rule I didn't see was tank shock or another vehicle running into another vehicle. But we saw close combat, we saw ambush, we saw night fighting, we saw combat drop, we saw smoke rounds, artillery barrage, airstrikes. Yeah, there's no infantry assaulting a vehicle because that would have been. We would have ripped them apart with our AT grenades. The Lee. Someone brought an M3 Lee. It perched up on a hill and it did Lee things. You know, it just sat there and just threw hate every direction it could. And it did a good job of just raining hell down on that flight line. He did a very good job of limiting our force's ability to move onto that flight line. Hopefully it doesn't feel like his Lee didn't do much. It really did. Oh, absolutely, Bad Rabbit. Yeah, I got you, brother. Okay, so the way the BARs now are for the Americans, they're in a tight spot. So historically, if you want to take BARs, because BARs are cool, you know, if you're a fan of BAR, or if you're like, I like Bonnie and Clyde Colt Monitor stuff, I got you. I think they're cool. They look cool. They really do. Rule-wise, they're in a tough spot because with the Americans, they get an extra rifle shot for every 3 riflemen. So paying the extra points to take a BAR, it can get a little weird if you're trying to be very conservative with your points or hyper competitive. The light machine gun is still great because it's a light machine gun. You're pumping out more shots, better range, but you also require a loader. So if you want to go airborne, the question between BAR and light machine gun is going to affect what type of airborne unit you take. Like I said, only glider troops can have BARs. Only paratroopers can take that light machine gun. But if you're going like Ranger, then you can kind of take what you want. If you're going to the choice of BARs, it's because you like BARs. Competitive wise, there's not a big reason to, but doesn't mean you shouldn't or you can't because they're still cool and they're fun to use. Now, so to help you out, the pros and cons. So the pros of taking a BAR is cheaper than a light machine gun. It doesn't require an assistant gunner, and for the rifleman rule, for the move and shoot for the Americans, for every 3 rifles they shoot, they get a 4th rifle shot. If you start losing riflemen, you're gonna lose that rule. So a good example, if you have 3 riflemen, right? They can put out 4 rifle shots. If one of them dies, they're only putting out 2 rifle shots. So the rule is only dependent upon how many riflemen they actually have. And more importantly, I'm so glad you asked this, Bad Rabbit, to really get into it. Matter of fact, here, let me show you. Just let me show you what happens. So here's a good example, Rabbit. All right, let me alter this. There you go, so you guys can see this a little bit better. All right, so we'll pretend there's 2 Kimbatai or 1 squad, right? So you have 2 Kimbatai, one's visible, one's behind. We'll put it behind a full thing that she can't see. Like, ignore the whole, like, shoots 1 inches around, not a big deal thing. So, push the zombies back. So, you have 4 riflemen over here, right? These are riflemen. Or, we'll say 3. 3 makes it easier. So, you have 3 riflemen right here, right? So, the way the rule works, it says for every 3 rifle shots for the Americans, they get a 4th shot, and it's said to come from any one of the 3 guys shooting, right? So, that sounds like a good rule. Sounds like a very good rule. Do you like that deal? I'll take that deal. It's a damn good deal. So, the problem is only 2 of the riflemen can see here. This guy cannot see this model. The 3rd guy right here cannot see this Kimbatai model. So you're not getting 3 rifle shots. You're only getting 2. So your whole 3 rifle shots and you get an extra, that extra ain't gonna happen. You're only gonna get off 2 shots. And if you get off 2 rifle shots, it's just 2 rifle shots. So the whole shoot and move, every 3 rifle shots you get that extra 4th rifle shot, that only works when you're actually shooting 3 rifle shots. I know it sounds like I'm repeating myself and it sounds very dumb, pedantic point to make, but it came up during our game today. You know, if you only have so many people shooting, they're not really going to kind of get those rounds in. Versus if he had an LMG, he's going to get all those LMG shots. It's not dependent upon who has line of sight, who could do this, who could do that. Hey, what's going on, Squid Fist? We're just talking about what are the pros and cons of the BAR. If someone tells you, oh, don't take a BAR, it's worthless, there's no point in taking it, they're full of shit. There is a point and purpose to a BAR. Especially when you're operating around cover and stuff like that. If you have small squads, BAR. Because that way you can take those rifle hits and not have to worry about losing your rifle shots. BAR is cheaper than a machine gun, and also you don't have to worry about a loader. So there's your pros and cons for the BAR. It's more expensive than a rifle, more shots. You know, if you have 3 rifles, you'll get that 4th shot, but only if those 3 rifles shoots. There's a high man in the castle vibe here. You know, I should read the book. I hear the book is good. The show, the main character annoyed the hell out of me. It just seems like she failed at everything she did and just got everybody else killed, but somehow still kept failing up. So it's basically just like watching an officer. It was kind of annoying to watch. But the premise of it was kind of cool. Yeah, Squidfist, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm super boring. I'm just painting the tracks on the tanks because that's what I need to kind of I need to finish these tanks before the end of the month. Hey, what's going on, HS? Ooh, Behoove. I haven't heard that in a while. So shotguns, they pop up in the Marines. I don't think I've seen shotguns in the rules for 3rd edition. Somebody else may be able to correct me here. Only because the Japanese don't use them, so I'm not really sure. I'll have to take a look at that. I don't think I've seen shotguns in version 3. I know the Marines supposedly can take them. They have the models for them, but I don't know how well that pops up. Yeah, HS, we tested a lot of our home rules. They turned out great. The smoke rule, we altered it a little bit. So with smoke, you know, if you get your 6, you're dead on. If you dial in, you know, you're fine too. But if you miss with your smoke, what we decided to do was it scatters 2d6, and that ended up being really good. So instead of scattering 1d6, scattering 2d6. Makes it a little bit more fair for everybody. But the cover rules, oh my god, the cover rules were great at HS. Where you only get heavy cover inside of a building or behind an armored vehicle. That's pretty good. I think Bad Rabbit, it's going to depend on how you want to... I know it sounds like such a BS answer, so bear with me here. Build your... use proxy models, just use bottle caps or something like that. Really figure out how you want to move these models. Figure out how you want to use them, how you want to fight with them. Yeah, so I know shotguns were in 2nd edition. I don't know what they are in 3rd edition. You know what? Let me look it up for you real quick. Because I know I have the book. I've been using the book all day. Yeah, I'm actually not seeing shotgun in the weapon table unless I'm just skipping over it. From bottom to top, I have heavy howitzer, medium howitzer, light howitzer, heavy mortar, medium mortar, light mortar, flamethrower vehicle, flamethrower infantry, super heavy anti-tank gun, heavy anti-tank gun, medium anti-tank gun, light anti-tank gun, Panzer Faust, Panzer Shrek, bazooka, Piat, AT rifle, heavy autocannon, light autocannon, heavy machine gun. Those are all the heavy weapons. Now small arms. Medium machine gun, light machine gun, assault rifle, automatic rifle, which is your BAR, submachine gun, pistol rifle. Yeah, there is no shotgun, so I guess shotgun counts as a rifle, I guess. Nathan, that was good. That got, I think I muted so you didn't hear it, but that got me to chuckle out loud, Nathan. That was fucking hilarious. It's like, Hans, yes. Why do the doughboys have fouling pieces in their trench? I don't know. Hop in the trench and ask them. Oh god, they have slam fire. That's not dove shot at all. That's buckshot. So I think that was the big difference. I think, and again, I don't live in Europe currently, but I think in World War I, the huge disconnect between shotguns was Americans have been using shotguns and buckshot to put food on their tables to drop deer for years. Where I think in Europe they were using rifles versus deer, and they were using, bird shot and dove shot as, and they're fouling, like the term says, fouling piece, a fowl as in a bird. So they're using their shotguns to bird hunt using, shot in it. So I don't think they were ready for buckshot. More importantly, 5 or 6 rounds of 12 gauge buckshot coming out, in the confines of a trench. I think that was a game changer. That's not a bad way to do it, HS, especially for Commodore 47, yeah. Most people would have some type of assault rifle. Alright, so like I was saying, this stream we are probably going to end up at 4, so we're going to be ending here in a few minutes. I appreciate you guys joining and chatting, truly. Next stream, though, because I'm getting close to my vows. Oh. So I'm getting close to my vow. So next streams are gonna be some long ones. We'll probably be going all the way until 6 a.m. each morning. So, you know, if you have time on your calendars, definitely tune in next week. We're gonna be going. We might even start early. We'll be starting early and going late. Try and get these tanks fully finished. All the Tiki flage, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that helps a lot. HS for my demo armies, like I have 500 German Kotomoto and 500 Imperial Japanese, but also using just Imperial Japanese and kind of splitting it between the two separate things really helps as well. That way everybody kind of has the same rules. That feels really nice. So far I'm not seeing any rules for it for 3rd edition, but that being said, the army list book hasn't dropped yet for the Americans, so maybe the Marines will get their own thing. But the compression rifles for the Imperial Japanese, they play, to me, it reads more of how a shotgun should read. So for those, the way it kind of works that is you can take, it's basically a choice between slug or buckshot. So the buckshot, you do 3 shots kind of close range at -1 to pin, or you can take a normal 24 range shot and get 1 shot with normal pin value. So the compression rifles, gameplay wise, feel very shotgun to me, where you can choose between what shell you want, slug or buck. That's kind of cool. I'm not sure. I know the American book, so the German book came out. I think the British one came out, and I think the British one is next, and then they'll do the American. I'm not quite sure. So, it's definitely coming soon. I think they're trying to drop them like every other month or every 3 months. So, it's definitely coming soon. All right, for the like I said, it was a good stream. I know it's a little bit more muted. I apologize. I was basically, on, my as entertaining and having fun during like a full 8-hour, 9-hour bolt action game, as I'm sure the other guys can attest. Irish, Trooper, and RK. So we showed up. Me and Irish showed up and had sake and sushi before the game, and we were there from opening to close. So. A little tired, but we did get some models painted. We talked about some cool after action report. We talked about some rules, which I think is actually a lot of fun. Like I said, still a good stream, but a short stream, I know that. But next streams are going to be long streams. So next week, tune in. They're going to be a lot longer. That being said, for these guys who are about to go to sleep like I am, I hope it's that good sleep. I could definitely use it. My eyes are pretty tired. For those of you guys heading to work, I hope it's a good day at work. You're able to like sneak in a podcast or a book and get a really long break. But ultimately, for all of you guys, I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you chatting. I appreciate Nathan making fun of my outro because it made me laugh, and it was absolutely awesome. But I really do hope that you guys stay safe, stay hydrated, and don't forget to relax today, because you're on Tiki time.
Type today, rifles in hand. Hula gals with summer smiles. No war drums, just beach for miles. Ghost park by Tiki lights. Shadows dance in tropic nights. Sand beneath where boots once stood. Paradise ain't so misunderstood. Lost in waves and hula tunes. Tiki drinks and months of booze. Forgot the fight in distant lands. Just surf and play with tired hands. Bunkers built from palm and hope. Coconuts and crude soap. And burn beach bums. Shrine to ocean gods we raise, praying for forgotten days. Sake in the campfire glow, life's a surfboard, ebb and flow. Lost in waves and hula twos, tiki drinks and months and moons. Forgot to find in distant lands, just surf and play with tired hands.